Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. I'm joined, as always, by Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Very, very good, my friend. Very, very good. Now, we're going to delve straight into part one. We're going to get straight into part one. Of course, part one containing mainly of the review part of the show, where we review the fights from last weekend. Now, we're going to start with a card that took place on the Friday. This was the card that happened over in Glasgow, Scotland, of course. Top of the bill over there, Ricky Burns. He put his WBA World Super Lightweight title on the line, his 140 title. His record going into this bout, 40 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw. He got in there against relatively unknown Kirill Relik. Now, Relik actually had a record of 21-0, 19 of those 21 wins by knockout. He was, of course, trained and promoted and managed, I believe, by Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton, of course, had full faith in his man, and he started the fight really, really good, to be honest. He really did. He started the fight really well. He was able to land pretty much at will on Ricky. Ricky looked really awful for the first few rounds, I've got to be completely honest there. In the middle rounds, I think that Ricky kind of picked it up a little bit. He seemed to sort of, I don't know, it seemed like maybe he knew he was getting beaten up a little bit, and maybe he just went back and it kind of just clicked. He come out, he was a little bit, he seemed a little bit more warmed into it. He seemed a little bit more switched on. I think maybe losing a couple of the first few rounds, maybe it was a bit of a wake-up call. And like I say, he came out, he won quite a few of the middle rounds pretty wide. He was hurting his opponent a little bit as well. And, of course, Relik, even though he's got a nice record, 21-0, 19 knockouts, he's never faced anyone of Ricky Burns' level. That's for sure. So we wasn't really sure. He kind of threw it all into the first few rounds, and Ricky was coming on stronger. But then in the latter rounds, he just, I don't know, Ricky kind of faded a bit, and Relik seemed to nick a few of those rounds as well. It ended up finishing a unanimous decision win for Ricky Burns. One of the scorecards was extremely wide. I don't really like to criticize the scorecards and stuff like that too much, but it was very, very wide. And it's not the first time we've seen some strange scores from judges in Scotland when Ricky Burns is fighting. We've seen it happen with Raimundo Beltran. And to be honest, it's horrible to see that. But at the end of the day, I think it was very, very close. It was really a round either way. I don't think that Relik maybe done enough to rip the title away from the champion, so I don't think I've got any qualms about that. But Ricky Burns, I've got to be honest, as I say, Relik 21-0, 19 knockouts, as I said, he's never fought at that level. He's got a padded record. Ricky Burns, the Ricky Burns of old could have probably knocked this guy out. Let's be honest here. Ricky Burns, I'm going to say, I hope I'm not upsetting no one when I say this, but I like to be completely honest here. Ricky Burns is well past it. He is well past it. If he fights Broner like they're saying, Broner knocks Burns out. Simple as that. I hope I'm wrong, because I will never, ever, ever favour anyone over a Brit. I stick with my Brits down to a T. I really do. I back them no matter what. No matter if I completely don't like them, I will still favour a Brit over a foreigner coming over to try and beat, especially one of our world champions. So I really like Ricky Burns. I got talking to him once at one of Joshua's fights, and he was such a lovely guy. But I've got to be honest, he's well washed up now, and he's there for the taking. He's easily the weakest champion. And if he gets in there with anybody at 140, whether it be Crawford, Postal, Adrian Broner, it's goodbye for Ricky Burns. I know that he's expressed he wants to carry on fighting until he's 40 years old. I think he's going to really have to drop down a level if he's going to end up doing that, because believe me, he's not truly world level, especially at 140. He's well over the hill now. Sorry for such a strong opinion on that, but in my opinion, he really is. I think he's been all he did was got that lucky shot at the vacant title against Michele DeRocco, who had the most paddedest record anyone's ever seen. And of course, he got the job done. But DeRocco, he was nothing. He was nothing compared to some of the guys at the top level. Ayaz, did you manage to catch that fight at all?
Yeah, I think that Relic was a very good fighter. The scorecards, in my opinion, was outrageous. That's what I got to say. One thing, I reckon Ricky Burns won it by either 2 rounds. In my opinion, he nicked the fight by 2 rounds. But the scorecard, in my opinion, was outrageous.
Yeah, no, as I said just a minute ago, I completely agree with that. Also on that bill, Dillian Whyte against Ian Lewison. Now, Dillian Whyte, this was a bit of a grudge match. They're both from Brixton. Dillian Whyte 18-1 going into this bout. Ian Lewison 12-2 with the 1 draw. It was for the vacant British heavyweight title, which was probably the only good thing about the whole contest. It's good to see that we've got a new British champion, because that belt was in the limbo a bit. No one quite knew what was going on with it for quite a while. Dillian Whyte's wanted to fight for it. He finally got that chance. It was against a local rival of his. Now, Ian Lewison came out. Everybody said he was going to be dangerous for the first 3 or 4 rounds. Dillian Whyte came out boxing quite well. Lewison did pretty well for the first couple of rounds. I mean, look, it went to the 10th round, and then Lewison, his corner, stopped the fight. And I think that it was the right decision from Don Charles to stop the fight, looking out for the health of his man, which is the most important thing in this boxing business, looking out for the health of your fighters. It's, the health is such a massive, massive thing. And I think that Dillian Whyte was pretty bad, to be honest. I wasn't very impressed with him when he fought Dave Allen. I've not been very impressed with him when he's fought Ian Lewison here. I don't know if it's because Ian Lewison and Dave Allen have maybe a bit boring styles, maybe, or is it just Dillian Whyte's got a bit of a boring style? Or is it when Dillian Whyte's in there with a durable opponent, he's just not able to quite work him out? He kind of takes him a long time to figure it out, and he ends up just getting a points decision win. Like I say, with Dave Allen, it went to points. With Ian Lewison here, it was scheduled for 12 rounds. I don't think I don't know, like I say, his corner jumped in, but I think it would have gone 12. I don't think Lewison would have had any trouble going 12. And look at him, he was almost 20 stone, Ian Lewison. I'm not being funny, Ayaz, but, Dillian Whyte wants this next shot at Joshua. It was a great fight, but I'm going to be a bit brutal here. I'm in a bit of a brutal mood. I kind of put a little bit of criticism on Ricky Burns there, but I'm going to give some to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, he wants this shot at Joshua. He did really well against Joshua. He outlasted all the other opponents at the point when he fought him. Joshua was knocking everybody out within 4 rounds. He came along. Dillian Whyte, he took him into some of the late rounds, and he hurt Joshua. We've seen Joshua hurt for the first time in his pro career by Dillian Whyte, which was brilliant. But did he actually do anything overly impressive in that fight, or do you think he just soaked up all the punishment and was able to trouble Joshua with one, I don't want to say lucky punch, but one shot? Because he's in there now, and you've got to just think here, if Joshua was in there against Ian Lewison, he's knocking Ian Lewison out. I just see 20 stone Ian Lewison. It's not Ian Lewison in shape. His footwork was awful. I mean, listen, you can't be stupid with him because he'll knock you out. He's got a big punch, and he was really winding up when he had the energy. But Dillian Whyte didn't get like a showreel knockout that a lot of people maybe thought he was going to get. And I think Joshua just absolutely wiped the floor with him. And that's me being, some people criticize me for being a little bit, not really like jumping the gun with Joshua. A lot of people are like, oh, you're a hater of Joshua. No, I'm completely not. But he would have wiped the floor with this guy, and Dillian Whyte didn't do nothing of the sort. So I'm certainly not, my juices are certainly not flowing for the rematch between Dillian Whyte and Joshua. And that's what Dillian Whyte wants. So I'm not so looking forward to that, if I'm completely honest. He's definitely got to fight someone where he looks brilliant. And hopefully we see him in there against Chisora. But I'm a bit worried because, again, these two men, Dave Allen and Ian Lewison, have proved to be durable fighters. If he gets in there with Chisora is a durable mofo, yeah? He's not got the most exciting style. He's not a big puncher. He's not a knockout artist. He never will be. But he's a man who is very, very hard to stop him. The only man who really did it in style was David Haye, simple as that. And for me, Dillian Whyte, I don't think he's going to be able to stop Chisora. I don't think Dillian Whyte's a massive, massive puncher when he's stepped up in level. I really don't. He's knocked out all these journeymen, but when he's stepped it up, and like I said, I'm a big fan of Dillian Whyte. I actually am. We had him on this show, and it was the best show, the most exciting show we've ever done, and the viewers is testament to that, because we had the most views on that show, and it was one of our first ever ones. It was brilliant. It was last December, and he's always welcome back on our show, Dillian Whyte. But I just think if he gets in there with Chisora, it's going to be really exciting, all the build up and all that. But I think once the bell goes, I really think it's going to be a little bit boring. If I'm wrong, please send in your opinions. It'd be interesting to hear from somebody other than myself and Ayaz. Please send them in. The Twitter at BoxHard Podcast. It'd be interesting to hear what you think. We're going to move down that bill. I'm not going to stay there, but Ian Lewison now 12 wins and 3 losses with the 1 draw. Dillian Whyte 19-1, that 1 loss to Joshua, of course. Also on the bill, Scotty Cardle. He defended successfully his British lightweight title against Kevin Hooper. Now, Hooper was cut by the right eye in the 4th round. Scotty Cardle got the TKO in round 6. It's good there for Cardle to get a stoppage. He doesn't tend to get many of those. So Cardle extends that winning streak, that unbeaten streak, 21 wins now, 0 losses and the 1 draw. Kevin Hooper now 19-4, but he put up a real good effort. I'm sure he'll be back for some more at that type of level. That's really it for that bill. It wasn't such a huge bill over in Scotland, to be honest, but it lived up to a decent night of boxing in the end. We're going to fly over to California now, Los Angeles, top of the bill, Diego Magdaleno. He got back in there. Again, I said that he was out for a while after losing to Terry Flanagan in a great fight for Terry Flanagan. Magdaleno was actually cut on his right eye from a punch in round 4. It wasn't a great start for Diego Magdaleno, to be honest here. He fought Art Hovhannissian. Now, Hovhannissian had a record of 17 wins, 2 losses and 3 draws. Magdaleno was 28-2 going into this fight. Hovhannissian also actually cut his eye in the 5th round. That was from a punch as well. So both men were cut on the eye by round 4, round 5. And Diego Magdaleno managed to scratch out a unanimous decision win after 10 rounds. So I'm sure he'll be looking to get back in that title picture. Now, the last bill, because there wasn't too much action on, but the last bill we've got to review now happened over in the Harrow Leisure Centre, obviously Harrow, London. It was a Frank Warren prospect show, to be honest. A lot of his undefeated prospects were on the bill. I'm going to start with the top fight. Liam Walsh, he went into his bout 20-0. He fought Andrei Klimov, 19-2. This was some sort of eliminator for the title. That would be the WBO super featherweight title, I believe. I'm not too sure. Klimov was actually down in the 6th round, okay? So Liam Walsh put him down in that 6th round. It was a 12th round unanimous decision win, but Liam Walsh was literally punch perfect. He looked sensational. He really, really did. I know that Klimov's a decent fighter. I know that obviously, he's going to have to fight at this type of level to be able to get in there and beat champions. But Liam Walsh showed every bit that he's at that level and he's ready for those types of fights. So a brilliant win there for Liam Walsh, and we're going to be paying close attention to him. I think he's definitely in the next few couple of Brits to win a world title. There's a lot of guys just on the fringe, just on the, just soon getting their shot, and I think he's going to be a world champion very, very soon. So great stuff there for Liam Walsh, 21-0 now, perfect record for him. Also on the bill, George Jupp, he picked up a points win after 8 rounds over Jordan Ellison. So George Jupp back in there from his his lost attempt at a world title. He was well up against it. I believe it was over in South America, but he went out there and showed some heart. So George Jupp now 14-3. And George Jupp, the man that he beat, he's been looking to bounce back from that loss for quite a while now. He finally got a fight and it ended up happening. So good stuff for him. That's, of course, Mitchell Smith. So Mitchell Smith fought on the bill and he extended his win record to 14 wins. He's got the 1 loss, of course, and he defeated Norwin Garlow. Norwin Garlow actually retired in the 4th round. It was scheduled for 8, so he didn't want to come out for the 5th. Garlow actually had a point deducted as well, and he retired with an injury. at the end of that round. I'm not sure what the injury was. I'm not sure if it was legitimate, but nonetheless, it's a good run out again for Mitchell Smith, and I'm sure that he'll be able to bounce back big. Now, a few prospects now. A lot of our listeners may not know some of these names, but you will do very, very soon, I'm telling you. Sammy McNess, he moved to 6-0 with a TKO in round 2. He's a super welterweight in this fight, but Sammy McNess, a good fighter, West Ham fan as well, and I've seen him up close. He's the real deal, believe me. Johnny Coyle, also another exciting fighter to watch, a tough guy. He moved to 15-0. Of course, he's got the one draw. It was a points win after 6. Boy Jones Jr. moved to double-figure wins. He's now 10-0. Of course, he's got that one draw as well. His TKO came in round 6. He had his opponent down twice in the 5th round as well. His opponent, a winning record, but he was really there to get a beating, to be honest. Also on the bill, Archie Sharp, and he lives up to his surname. He's very, very sharp. He moved to 6-0 with a points win after 6 rounds. Charlie Driscoll, in his second pro outing, he moved to 2-0 with a points win after 6 rounds. And also Prince Patel was on the bill. He moved to 4-0 with a points win over 4 rounds against Patrick Bartos. So good fights there. And I will just say that Sanjeev Sahota was also on the bill. He moved to 4-0, and he was actually down in the first round from a left hook against a proper journeyman. So not great of a start there, but he ends up winning on points after 4 rounds. So I think he went down in that first round and managed to get up and win the next 3. So good stuff for Sahota there. And it's a bit of a gut check very early, which a lot of fighters it's good for, but we'll see what happens with him. But that's really it for the review. And as I said, there wasn't too much to review. It's been a bit lackluster this week, and this week coming up, it's a little bit, there's some decent fights in the preview part. You'll have to listen for that coming very soon. But of course, before we end part 1, there's 2 last things to do. The first thing, of course, is to bring Ayaz in with this week's roundup of the news.
Danny Garcia will fight Samuel Vargas on November the 12th.
Yeah, it's a strange one. The WBC are not sanctioning this as a world title fight, so it's a non-title fight. Now, the reason for that is because I believe his opponent is ranked at about 45 in the world. So, of course, you've got to get in the top 15 for it to be sanctioned as a proper world title fight, and it would have been a voluntary, I believe. So it's a non-title fight. There were a lot of rumours, of course, that Mayweather was going to return and fight Danny Garcia in September of this year, which ended up not happening, and we've been yet to see Danny Garcia in a proper good fight. He's always called a cherry picker, and it's a horrible name, and I don't like to throw it out, but when he brings up fights like this for the fans, it's a bit hard not to side with the general consensus, but I hope we see him get in there and mix it up, because when we've seen him do it, when we've seen him get in there against guys like Lucas Matisse, he's done really well. So he finds a way to win most of the time anyway. There's a couple of wins that he's got that I'm not quite in agreement with, but he's a good fighter. But it's a shame to see him fighting guys like this, and especially when he's a world champion. Why is he having non-title fights? I don't know. Is it a warm-up to something? I really, really hope so. Ayaz, is there any more news for us?
Heavyweight star Luis Ortiz has joined Matchroom Boxing and will top the bill in Monte Carlo, facing Malik Scott in the main event.
Yes, that's happening on the same night. That's actually on the 12th of November as well. Now, I've got to say, this was a bit of a shock. I really do have to say so. It was a bit of a shock. Now, I know that Luis Ortiz, obviously the Cuban heavyweight, he doesn't even speak any English, and it's just strange because a lot of his fights have been, in different parts of the world, really, mainly in America. And now he's fighting with Eddie Hearn. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with him. You know, are they going to bring him over to the UK to fight in some fights? We'll have to wait and see. But it was definitely a huge shock. And you'd think that he'd be put in there with maybe Anthony Joshua in the future. Is that the plan that they've got for him? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that'd be a good fight. There's a lot of people that are, as I say, a little bit like myself, they're not too quick to start waving the Joshua flag that he's the best heavyweight in the world and he's the best thing since sliced bread. But I tell you what, if he fights Luis Ortiz and he was able to do something like knock him out, then I tell you what, a lot of people, a lot of doubters will definitely start, waving that flag. And me, I'll definitely be one of them. I want to see Joshua smash someone up who's definitely someone that I'd say is a genuine top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8, top 9, top 10. You know, we just have not seen that yet. It definitely wasn't Brazil, and it definitely wasn't Charles Martin. Yeah, he's in this fight against Malik Scott. It's definitely a bit of a strange one. Again, Malik Scott has been out of the ring for such a long time. I think he last fought in November of 2015. So it's going to be like a year out of the ring, which is obviously bad stuff when you're getting in there against an unbeaten Cuban southpaw who can really bang. So Malik Scott's definitely up against it. He's a personal friend of mine, and I am not too happy about this fight being made. But I tell you what, if anybody can outbox the Cuban, then it certainly is Malik Scott. So as long as he can stay away from those big left hooks, he's got such a great left hook, Ortiz, and of course he's good with his right hand as well. So yeah, you've definitely got to be switched on against him. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one happening over in Monte Carlo. It's a bit of a new twist, and I like it, to be honest. So I'm definitely going to be watching from home when that fight comes round. But it's a big move for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and I'm excited to see the start of this journey. Is there any more news for us, Ayaz?
Yes, finally, former WBA and IBF super lightweight champion Aaron Pryor has died after a long battle against heart cancer at the age of 60.
Yeah, I know he had some bad heart conditions for a long time, and it's finally caught up with him. Rest in peace, of course, to Aaron Pryor, a good fighter, a man that got in there, wasn't really afraid of nothing. He got in there and he gave us some really entertaining fights, and he was a good champion. He really was. Almost a bit of a forgotten man, actually, when we look back at some of the older generation of fighters. He was a tremendous fighter and a good champion. And I tell you what, it's been 2 weeks back to back now that we've had losses of boxers. Last week it was a very different scenario with Mike Tao, a man that passed away, of course, doing what he would be, what he loved to do, which was box. Now this is a death as well, but of course this is a man that's been there and done it, and it was very much a long-term medical thing, so it's not as much of a shock, but it's still a life lost, which you can't justify. It's still heartbreaking. So it's been a bad 2 weeks for boxing with the 2 lives lost, and hopefully in the next week it's a good week to bounce back with. So is that it for the news, Ayaz? Is there any more for us at all?
Yes, that's it for the news.
Okay, thank you, Ayaz. Now, before we end part 1, of course, there's one last thing to do, and that is to welcome our first guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man that's been on this show a couple of times now, but this week he's here because he's involved in the big one this weekend. He's the trainer of multiple top fighters. It's, of course, Mr. Dave Coldwell. Dave, welcome on the show, my man. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on your show, mate. How are you, all right?
All good, man. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Very good.
Excellent stuff. Now, I couldn't believe it, Dave, because I looked, and the last time you came on our show, it was 35 weeks ago this week, so it's been a long time.
Is it that long?
It's been that long. It has been that long. Now, in that time, so much has happened. Jamie McDonnell successfully defended his title, his world title once again. Gavin McDonnell has fought twice. He's won both of his fights, picking up the WBC silver belt as well. You've linked up with David Price. Tony Bellew has become Britain's only current WBC boxing world champion, and you nearly chinned Chris Eubank Sr. at a press conference. It's all happened, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all
it's
been
all
busy,
happened.
mate. It's been busy.
Okay, right, let's get down to the serious stuff. Firstly, Big David Price was set to fight on this bill on Saturday, on the undercard, of course. He's pulled out with an illness. I just wanted to clear that up. It's nothing serious, I hope, just something small.
No, what it was in the last probably about 8 to 10 days before the fight in Germany, he started being a bit just feeling a bit under the weather. I had to give him a day off, and then he'd come back training and give him another day off. But, it was a case where it just was feeling like just lethargic and not feeling great. We got the fight done because we knew obviously he'd been out for so long and we were desperate to fight. It's the only date it got really concrete, so we got the fight, got it out of the way. But in the changing rooms before the fight, he just started with a cough. So obviously after the fight, what happens to a lot of fighters, as soon as they've fought, they always, because the immune system is really low, they always come down with something, and the colds just come out of him. Really, it's a viral infection. where he's got a bit of a cough and he just feels lethargic and really, really drained. He's been for some blood tests and everything, and he's fine. It's just a viral infection. So, I've said to him, have the rest of this week off, and we'll see how he is next week. He'll probably have the first couple of days off next week, and then probably just start having a little bit of a move around and getting back into things again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that it's nothing too serious, No.
Listen, fighters come down with viruses because they're always, when they're in training and their immune system is quite low. The fitter you are, and sometimes it comes where they pick something up.
Yeah, of course. Now, let's get on to the main event here. I know that Tony Bellew takes on BJ Flores. What do you know about BJ, Dave? And is it a bit of a dangerous first defence for Tony?
It's a bit of a banana skin, this fight. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
It's a fight where people underrate BJ. They don't really rate him as this, rate him as that, and so therefore there's a lot of pressure on you because everybody's expecting you to go out there and get rid of the guy, pretty much as a formality. But it's what I've said to Tony is BJ is in a very, very similar position to what Tony was before the Makabu fight. He's a former light heavyweight, stepped up to cruiserweight, had a couple of failed world title attempts, and now he's in the last chance saloon. He's a massive underdog, as Tony was in his fight, and then he's got all to prove. And now the fact that Tony showed that underdogs can win, and despite people telling you you're never going to be a world champion, you can pull it off. The fact that he's gone and done that shows that anyone can do that. So he has to pay BJ the same sort of respect what he'd expect when he was challenging for a world title. So he's fully focused, and we're taking this threat very, very seriously.
And I know that Tony's been quite explosive, I think is the right word, since moving up to cruiserweight. Now Flores has never been stopped. Do you think Tony will become the first? Do you think that Tony will become the first man to stop him?
I do actually. Listen, it's a fight where you've got a guy that's durable. Like you say, he's never been stopped. I don't think he's been dropped. But Tony's got an habit of pulling out the big punches, and I expect him to land some seriously meaty shots in this fight, and I'll be very surprised if BJ takes what he's got to offer.
No, me too. Now, has camp gone well with Tony? Obviously, it's the first camp spent whilst being the WBC world champ. Is it a bit of a different feel in the gym?
No, because I don't. Once Jamie McDonnell's the same. Once as a world champion, apart from in the public's eyes and when we're doing media engagements or anything like that, then I don't really we don't treat them as world champions. They're just another fighter in the gym. They're just striving to achieve the best that they can be. Once you start falling in love with yourself as a world champion, that's when you take your foot off the pedal a little bit. I don't brag and act any different about them and talk about them to them in any different ways. They don't get away with things because now they're champ. Everything has been as one, really, as same as what it always has been. Obviously, it's nice because they're going about here, there, and everywhere, and people are stopping them and say, "Oh yeah, WBC world champion, it's great." But the work in the gym, you've got to train like you're a challenger. You've got to train like you've still got so much more left to achieve, which he has, because it's very difficult when your dream has been to become world champion, to become especially WBC world champion, to fight at Goodison Park. All that he achieved that on one night. He ticked all his boxes in one night. Now, what all good champions do and elite athletes do is that once they achieve one goal, they set another goal, and they set another goal, and so on, and that's what he's done. His goal, all right, he achieved his lifelong dream there, but we've got new goals now. New goals, big fights, big defences. Establishing himself as one of Britain's best, and going full throttle for that. So he's not sitting back on his laurels, and he's not relaxing up in training. He's still got the work ethic. He's still putting it in there.
Yeah, and that is, of course, the all-important thing. Now, as you said, he wants to strive and become, a real good fighter and make a bit of a legacy out of it. I know that Tony's expressed he wants to fight the best. He's mentioned the other champions in the division. Which of the other champions do you think, that you could see him fighting in the future? And also, did you manage to catch Usyk's last fight? Because he really looks good right now.
Well, Usyk, myself and Tony did the commentary for Sky on Usyk.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So we watched it, very, very close. But we've watched Usyk quite a lot. I mean, Tony's always spoke about Usyk, so he's the one that brought my attention to him, a couple of years back. So, he's one that we've always marked as a future world champion, and he's the one that I would say that is the standout in the division. But it's a division that it's quite frustrating because people don't want to tend to give the cruiserweight division the respect that it deserves, because there's so many Eastern Europeans and fighters in there where you can't pronounce the names, never mind spell them. Fans seem to not want to give the credit to the fighters. They are killers. There are some serious fighters in that division. It's a dangerous division. A lot of big punches in there. A lot of strong men. It's a tough division. So anyone that's got a belt there has had to earn it. I've always said I'd like Tony to fight Lebedev. He's a man that, before the Makabu fight, he was the one that I was wanting to get hold of for his title shot. So that's a fight that we would love to take. There's big fights out there, and then Usyk's the man that I would like if we're going down that path. He's the one that you'd want for all the marbles. Usyk will probably have a couple of titles. Hopefully we get a couple of titles. Nick a couple of titles off of Lebedev, and then you're doing it for everything on the line to fight someone like Usyk. That's how highly I rate Usyk. I think he's a serious threat in the division. But it's a division that's stacked full of very good fighters, very, very good fighters.
Yeah, I agree. But no, he's a good fighter without a doubt. That'd be a wicked clash down the line. And just a quick roundup of everyone else in the gym. How are they all getting on, Dave? Could you just give us a bit of an update on the McDonnell brothers, and also if you know what's next for Pricey, any next date he may be out at all?
Yeah, well, Pricey, the plan's always been for November 26th for the AJ Bill. Now, by the looks of things, nobody seems to know what's happening, but by the looks of things, that bill may move to December 10th, or it may stay November 26th. We don't know. But whatever date that is, then I imagine that Pricey will be on that bill. I imagine, but MGM and the Sowlands will get the rest together and they'll put him on whatever show that they decide, along with Eddie, if it's an Eddie Earn show. So they'll sort that out. But that's the date that we've got in our mind, and that's the date that we're working towards for Pricey. Jim McDonnell, he's defending his WBA against Laboris Solis on the big Monaco show November 12th. That's a fantastic fight. It's another fight that proves that Jamie's willing to take the real fighters. Some world champions we've had where they get soft defences and just are happy just to keep plugging away with the defences, waiting for a big one. Jamie's been actively looking for the big fights. We were waiting on Warren. We thought that we were going to be fighting Warren. That fight date now looks like it's been put back. They're talking about they want to do that fight in possibly January. So we need to make a defence before that. And Jamie wanted something that can get his teeth into. We had a bit of a last minute opportunity at defence last time out. That's why he fought that Vargas, but it was only like a last minute opportunity. So that was his little soft touch, so to speak, after the Kameda fights. Which I think he deserved, and I don't see why not. But he wanted something that he can get his teeth into. We was hoping for Haskins Hall winner or Warren, but Haskins is injured, so that one was out the window. He even threw his hat into fighting Rigondo a few months ago. He's a real throwback fighter. He knows that he's not going to get the respect that he deserves, because let's face it, he was an unbeaten IBF champion. He fought the WBO champion, and the night before got stripped, what should have been unification. So he should have a WBO belt as well. But he's still kind of like the forgotten man when people are talking about world champions and Britain's best. So he knows he's not going to get. He's kind of like settled for the fact that he's probably not going to ever get the respect. But if he keeps beating the good fighters out there and keeps winning, collecting different belts, then sooner or later I think penny's going to drop, and they're going to start giving him his dues. And the thing is, a lot of fans, a lot of hardcore fans and whatever, they're now starting to give Jamie a lot of respect. It's just the wider audience that don't seem to mention Jamie McDonnell.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we had a similar conversation about this before. I think that he, you're right. No one thinks of him when they think of some of the top pound-for-pound fighters, but he's beaten some top guys. He really has, and he's gone away to do it as well. He's gone out to the USA to do it.
The fact is he's winning fights where people are tipping against him, or where he's having 50-50 fights. He's winning those sort of fights. A lot of fighters are winning fights where there's 70-30 in their favour, 60-40 maybe in their favour. Jamie's done it the hard way all the way through. So he deserves a lot of respect and a lot of credit. And listen, it's what I keep saying to them all. All you can do is keep winning. That's all you can do. Keep winning, and eventually things come your way. Eventually people start, he's still here. He's still world champion. Obviously you filter through and the cream rises, but it's boxing's all about where you end up, not where you are now. It's where you end up when you're retired. When you're sat in your chair, you're packed up, you're retired, you look back on your career, and if you're happy with what you've achieved, then it's been a great career, and that's all you need to worry about, really.
Yeah, of course. And whilst you're here, Dave, the last thing I've got for you now, I know that you love it when a big fight gets made. It's finally happening here in the light heavyweight division. Andre Ward against Kovalev next month. How do you see that fight playing out, Dave?
Oh, that's a fantastic fight. It really is. You know what? I'm a fan of Andre Ward in his technical abilities and his boxing brain, but I understand why the wider audiences aren't really fans of him, because he's not in the most exciting fights. But ability wise and boxing wise, he's absolutely he's fantastic. Kovalev is just he's a fan's dream, really. He goes in there with one intention, and that's to break you and knock you out. And he showed in the Hopkins fight that he can actually box a little bit as well. So his boxing skills are underrated, because you just genuinely focus on his power. But in this fight, I just get the feeling that because Andre Ward is very good at nullifying what you do, that's his main objective, really, is when he goes in the ring, he goes to nullify your strong points, nullify what you're good at. Now, if he can nullify Kovalev, then I think it makes it quite a maybe not the most exciting sort of fight, but I see a lot of tying up, a lot of niggling him on the inside, little shots on the inside, and working him out. And I think Ward beats him on points, to be honest. I think Kovalev will get really frustrated. But the thing about Kovalev, it's that hard that in 12 rounds, he's got 12 rounds to catch Ward clean. And then we'll see how Ward reacts. So obviously we know that Ward's been dropped before by Darnell Boone, who's not anywhere near in the same sort of bracket, but that's a long time ago. And the thing is now, when we always say about fighters learning from the mistakes, you can come back from being stopped and being knocked out. You look at Ward and how he's adjusted his style, and how his style now is where he doesn't get hit, or he doesn't take shots flush. I think he's got the frame to box to compete with Kovalev on the inside, and the strength to compete and tie him up and nullify what Kovalev wants to do. It's just whether if Kovalev can land a couple of shots up top and if he can take him out. I think that's the intrigue all the way through the fight. But if I had a gun to my head, I would go with Andre Ward.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, to be honest, Dave. It is the general consensus, but what a fight!
Yeah, it's purely just down to him. He is an expert at nullifying what you do, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Once and Kovalev, yes, he has got some boxing ability, but he's not the most complex when it comes to his attacks. So you're not talking about a guy that's going to be very. If you're a master at nullifying fighters, if you're a good defensive fighter, he's not the hardest to work out. He's not really going to do things that are so surprising and unorthodox that Ward will find difficult to break down and to nullify. So, for that reason, I'll go with him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like you say, he's a bit.
Fight.
he's a bit like straightforward, Kovalev, but it's because he doesn't really need to be. He doesn't need to be any different. He can just, he's got the power to just smash you up, But it will be a great, great fight. It really will.
It will be. And don't forget as well, Kovalev, he does get hit. He does get hit. And Ward, although he may not be the most destructive puncher, is a sharp puncher. And he's a puncher that I imagine will, along with the rest of his tactics, will take a lot of steam out of Kovalev as the fight goes along. So, it's not like Kovalev's very hard to hit. He's there to beat as well.
Yeah, of course. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Dave Coldwell is a pleasure to speak to. This man knows his boxing. Listen, Dave, it's always a pleasure, my man. It really is. I wish you all the best of luck for Saturday night.
Just before I go, the other fight that's got a big year coming ahead in 2017 is Gavin McDonnell.
That's what I asked you about, but you left it out when I asked you.
He's WBC number 2, and we're just sitting on that. We're waiting. He'll be back out again in December. He's learning in the gym. We'll be back out again in December in another run out, and then we'll just wait and see what's happening with the WBC title. And in 2017 he'll be getting his world title shot, which will be absolutely phenomenal for him. For a twin to follow in the footsteps of his brother and fight for a world title and hopefully win it, then that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gavin McDonnell. He's been on the show a handful of times as well. A real lovely guy. So that'd be quality. Imagine that, Dave, having 2 WBC world champs under your stable.
I know, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? It would, but that's a testament to the guys that I'm working with. They come in that gym, they give 100%. They do exactly as we ask. Whatever needs doing gets done. They listen. They go out there and they practice and they practice and they practice. They've got the patience that's required, and I couldn't ask for anything more as a coach. To be working with 4 guys that don't give me any hassle, that I don't have any grief off them, and it's just a pleasure to work with.
Excellent stuff. I'm proud for you, Dave. I really am. Now, listen, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. It really is. I wish you all the best of luck for Saturday night, my friend. Please say hello to everyone in the gym from me as well. We'll speak again soon.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the preview part. We're going to start with a fight card that's happening over in Australia. Just one fight I want to mention on that bill. Top of the bill, Daniel Gill. He's fighting for the vacant IBO World Super Middleweight title. So Daniel Gill's moved up in weight. And, of course, it's the IBO title, which isn't really regarded as one of the top belts. The amount of times I've had to say that. So I'm not sure what he's doing fighting for it, but I'm sure it'll get him in some kind of good position to fight for something a little bit more legitimate, I hope. Daniel Gill, 31 wins and 4 losses. He faces Reynold Quinlan, who has a record of 10 wins and 1 loss. And I tell you what, Quinlan's a good fighter, so this is going to be a good test for both men, really. And may the best man win on that one. But Daniel Gill, he's been there and done it, and maybe Reynold Quinlan can get the job done. It'll be interesting here. But that's really it for Australia. We're now going to fly back to Europe. We're going to go over to Hamburg, Germany. Top of the bill, a man called Noel Gever, who's actually has a great record of 21-0, and he is the current WBO International Cruiserweight Champion. He puts his belt on the line against Scotland's very own Stephen Simmons. So we're all behind him. I think, remember he had that bit of a feud with Wadi Camacho, and Wadi Camacho called him the Cookie Monster. He's quite a funny guy, Stephen Simmons. I remember he turned up with Cookie Monster pants on for the weigh-in. He's quite comical, to be honest, but a good fighter, and he got the job done against Wadi Camacho in a really good fight. So Stephen Simmons 15-1, and we wish him all the best of luck out there in Hamburg, Germany. I hope that if it does go down to the decision, it's going to be a fair one. But Stephen Simmons can bang as well, so best of luck to him. But that's really it for Germany. We're now going to fly out to Pennsylvania, USA, Philadelphia, in the 2300 arena. I'm not sure if that's the proper name of it, but it's an arena in Philadelphia where there's a lot of fights that take place there. A lot of young fighters have been in that venue and fought there, and we've got some other great fighters on the bill. I'm going to start with 2 fights now. The first one, Aaron Herrera, 29-5 with a 1 draw. He's in an 8-rounder at super lightweight against Mike Yes Indeed Reed. We've had him on the show show previously, a nice guy. His record 19-0. Now, this is a good fight for him. It's definitely a step up in terms of levels here. And I wish him all the best of luck. He's a nice guy, Mike Reed. He's very soft spoken as well. He's a really nice guy. He's kind of crazy that he gets in there and bashes people up, but believe me, he does. And he'll be looking to move to 20-0 in style. So all the best to Mike Reed. And also on that bill, Tevin Farmer, 22 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw. Nobody seems to know why he's got the 4 losses and 1 draw, because he's a tremendous fighter, Tevin Farmer, and he's really looking at that world level. He wants to become a world champion very, very soon, and he's a cracking fighter. You watch some YouTube clips of Tevin Farmer. He's a real skillful boxer. Believe me on that one. He takes on Orlando Rizo. It's an 8-rounder. Orlando Rizo with a record of 19 wins and 7 losses. It's a super featherweight bout, this one. So Tevin Farmer, I don't even think he needs luck. He's definitely going to get the job done here. But that's really it for Philadelphia. I believe all those fights just mentioned are all happening on the Friday. So we're now on Saturday. So this will be Saturday the 15th. We're going to fly out to Hamburg, Germany. Top of the bill, Erkan Tepe, 16-0. Of course, he got that win over David Pricing, where he knocked him out with a great shot, but then he failed a drug test. So I'm not sure what's happened with him and the ban and all that stuff, but he's back in action here, and he takes on Christian Hammer. Christian Hammer, 19-4, and recently we had him over here when Tyson Fury played with him, to be honest, and really beat him up quite bad. And this is for the vacant WBO European heavyweight title. So a good actual fight in terms of in terms of styles and stuff. It's a good matchup, so a good one there in the heavyweight division. And I believe, really and truly, I think Tepe will probably get the job done here over Christian Hammer. And Tepe is a good fighter. I don't really want to speculate too much on the drug thing, but he is a good fighter at the end of the day. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in that bout. And also on that bill, another good fight. Franz Riel, who has a record of 13 wins and 1 loss. He takes on Adrian Granit, who has a record of 13-0. I believe Granit has 12 knockouts as well. He's a bit of an exciting banger. This one's for the IBF International Heavyweight title, which Franz Riel holds. So it's a bit of a heavyweight bill, this one. There's another heavyweight clash on the bill as well, and a couple of cruiserweight ones. So it's pretty much a heavy man's card, that one, which I always like, to be honest. I'd like to try and find a link of that one somewhere. But that's really it for Hamburg, Germany. We're now going to go over to one fight that's happening over in Madrid, over in Spain, of course. Top of the bill, Ruben Nieto. We've seen him come over here and beat our very own Lenny Dawes in a fight that Lenny Dawes was winning until he headbutted him. A strange one there. I remember being ringside for that. So Ruben Nieto, 18-1. He takes on Ernesto España, who has a record of 19-0. This one is going to be a good fight as well. I don't know too much about España. I don't know if it's a padded record, but Nieto, a good fighter, but really one that is not very clever. I think he gets in there and kind of fights a little bit too much, and it really played into Lenny Dawes' hand on that night. This one's for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Super Lightweight title, so all the best to both men. Now we're going to come back to the Echo Arena, and this is the last build that we're going to preview. It's a big one, obviously happening over in Liverpool, Merseyside, if you don't know about the Echo Arena, which you really should do if you're a big boxing fan. We're going to start with the fight that's top of the bill. Tony Bellew, 27-2 with the 1 draw. He puts his WBC World Cruiserweight title on the line. Doesn't it feel good to say that? Tony Bellew, a man that I'm a huge fan of. And what a fight when he won it in, of course, Goodison Park. What a fight. That was just absolutely tremendous. I still can't get over what I saw. So Tony Bellew puts his belt on the line against BJ Flores, who has a record of 32 wins, 2 losses, and the 1 draw. Flores, a good friend of David Hayes, actually. This one's going to be a good fight, I think. I think Flores is going to come to give this a proper go. I really do think he will. I think that Bellew's definitely the better boxer. I think the power's probably with Bellew as well. He's been really good since he's come to cruiserweights. I say he's been really good. He wasn't great in those warm-up fights when he was warming into it, but since then he's looked pretty good, and especially that great win when he won the title in his last fight. So it's great to see him fight. Tony, no matter what, always brings quite an exciting fight. Well, apart from that one, the Cleverly 2 fight, which was absolutely horrific. But I think that was down to Nathan Cleverly, to be honest, not so much Bellew's fault. But it's going to be a good fight, that one. And of course, we're behind Tony Bellew, and I hope that he can get the job done here, perhaps in style, like he's been managing to do of late. Also on that bill, Luke Campbell. This is a fight I really am interested in. Luke Campbell, 14-1. He puts it all on the line against Derry Matthews. 38 wins, 10 losses and 2 draws. Of course, everybody knows Derry Matthews. He's been right around the block. This is his 51st professional contest as well. So he's got 50 fights, whereas Campbell's only got 15 under his belt. It's for Luke Campbell's WBC silver lightweight title, so it puts you in a good position with the WBC. And this obviously is the path that Luke Campbell's going down here. But I tell you what, Derry Matthews reckons that I've seen something where I think that he sort of said, listen, Luke Campbell's confidence has been dented by other men, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to knock him out. And we know that if Luke Campbell's not feeling up to it, Derry Matthews will definitely, he'll love that. It'll play right into his hands, and he can get the job done early. You know, Derry Matthews he can really punch when he has to. We've seen him do the same type of stuff to Anthony Crolla, and I'm sure that Derry Matthews will come into this fight and give it all he's got. Really, he's got nothing to lose. If he wins this fight, wow, it will really, trampoline him into something big. And really and truly, Derry Matthews, after losing to Terry Flanagan in the way that he did, I think he's probably well past it. So all the best of luck to both men, but I think that Luke Campbell's definitely got to be the favourite here, and I'm going to side with him probably getting the job done. Also on the bill, good fight again, Ryan Burnett, 14-0. He puts his British bantamweight title on the line against Ryan Farag. Now, Ryan Farag also with a lot of confidence, a confident fighter. His record's 16-2, and he thinks he's going to get the job done. So it's a battle of the Ryans in this one. And Ryan Burnett, again, a truly good fighter. And when he's on his game and when he's focused and all the rest of it, he really is pretty impressive. So all the best to both men in that one as well. Also, Sean Mashadod on the bill. He puts his WBC International Lightweight title on the line against Francesco Patura, who is a good fighter. He's got a record of 16-1, and Sean Dodd, of course, 11-2 with the one draw. I think Patura, this is a bit of a bad fight for Sean Dodd. I think he could probably get the job done. He's a nice guy. I really hope he can get the job done. But Patura, I think, is probably the favourite in this one, in my opinion. I haven't looked at any odds or anything, but I think that Patura is the better fighter. But we've seen Sean Dodd push Scotty Cardle pretty close. So if he fights like that, then maybe he can nick it. And I wish him all the best of luck, as I say. And also on the bill, 3 of the Smith brothers get out. Their opponents, to my knowledge, haven't been announced yet. But Callum Smith gets out again. He's 21-0 at the moment. This will be his 22nd fight. We had him on the show a couple of weeks back. A nice guy, of course. And also Paul Smith gets out on this bill. His record 38-6 at the moment. And finally, Stephen Smith gets out on this bill. I know that he's got a world title fight coming up. I believe it's in November. So this is a little bit surprising to me to see him out here, perhaps risking an injury or a cut or anything like that. So I'm not sure if he's definitely going to be fighting. I've heard that maybe he's not, especially with the fact that they couldn't get an opponent announced as long ago as what they probably wanted to. It's come down to the last few days now. So Stephen Smith, if he does end up fighting, his record is 24 wins and 2 losses. Another nice guy, Stephen Smith. And the last fight to mention, again, his opponent hasn't been announced also, but he's also on the bill. Definitely a name that we can't miss out. Rocky Fielding, 22 wins and 1 loss. His 1 loss coming to Callum Smith, which of course that was a highly anticipated fight and one that Callum Smith delivered hugely, to be honest. A great win for him there. Probably the best win of his career, I'd probably go as far as saying. So good stuff there. But it's great to see a great card of boxing over in Liverpool taking place. All the boys from Liverpool on the bill. And of course, there are some great fighters over there in Merseyside. But that's really it for the preview, and that is all that we've got. That's all the talking for you. The last thing to do, of course, is to welcome our second guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man that's fighting tomorrow night over in Philadelphia. It's none other than Mr. Tevin Farmer. Tevin, welcome on the show, my man. It's great to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. Now, we spoke to you exactly 10 weeks ago. It was just after your last fight. We had you on that crazy show that we did with Antonio Tarver when he came on here talking about loads of madness for about an hour. What have you been up to in the last 10 weeks or so, Tevin?
Same old training. That's all I do is train, relax with my family, and train more.
Okay, great stuff. Now, of course, you're fighting tomorrow night. You're fighting a man called Orlando Rizo. What do you know about your opponent, Tevin?
I actually never heard of him, and I don't know much about him. The first time hearing of him was when I got called for the October show, and that was about a month ago. So that's my first time hearing of him. I never looked him up, never saw him or nothing, so I don't know nothing about him.
Okay. Well, I know a tiny little bit about him. So how do you see this fight playing out? I mean, he's only been stopped once, and that was in his last fight. That was back in May of this year. How do you see the fight playing out, Tevin?
As long as I get the victory, I'm okay with it. But I see another dominant performance.
Yeah, so do I. I mean,
that's what I'm going for, the stoppage. But I'm okay with a win.
Yeah, no, of course.
Definitely definitely a domination win.
Yeah. I think that, I don't think you're going to need much luck. I think, he's a decent fighter, but as you say, you've got the skills. You've got the skills to do this. Do you reckon this will be your last fight of this calendar year, or do you reckon you'll fight again? Because I know you like to keep quite busy.
Yeah, I love being busy. I actually got a date already scheduled for December 2nd at the same place, 2300 Arena. So after this fight, I'm right back in the gym.
Oh, great.
For that one.
Great. Oh, that's brilliant stuff, man. That's brilliant stuff. So just to clarify, Tevin, what weight has this fight been made at, the fight tomorrow night?
132, give or take a pound.
Okay.
And the reason why is that because in December, I'm going back to 30. And in my last fight against Ivory Red Cats, I was at 135. So
yeah, that's right.
Me and my team decided to, instead of jumping straight back to 30, we decided to bring it down slightly to 133 so we can make 130 back comfortable in December.
Yeah, I get that 100%. So will you be, because I know that you've been shouting for a while that you're ready for the top boys in the division. Are you talking about the 130 division, yeah? That's where you're going to be at?
Well, I'm talking about from 26 to 35.
Oh, wow.
Any top fighter. If it's for a title, we can get it in. If it's not for a title, 130. That's where I'm at.
Okay. So, who do you want? I mean, providing you get through your fight tomorrow, I know that you've got a fight, as you said, lined up for December the 2nd. So, providing you get through tomorrow unscathed, no injuries, nothing like that, you fight on December 2nd. After that fight in 2017. Are you looking at a world title fight at all? I know that you probably want that. If so, who would you like?
Well, I said it one time. I said it 100 times, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm not calling out no more names. I'm done with that. It's about who wants to fight me. It's about who wants to fight Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer is want to fight everybody. I'm not calling out no particular names. Whoever willing to step up, that's what I'm willing to fight.
So you got no one on your radar at all, but anyone can get it from 126 to 135, yeah?
Yeah. One more thing, it really don't matter who I call out, because at the end of the day, I don't call out pretty much everybody, and none of them want to fight me. None of them.
Yeah,
so
no, that's a fair point.
I think it's a waste of time of screaming names.
That's a fair point. Okay, we'll leave that there. I wanted to ask your opinion, if you've got one, on the whole Adrian Broner situation at the moment. It seems like he's gone off the rails a little bit. Have you got any opinion on that?
Only thing I want to say about that is everybody is human. Everybody go through what they go through, and that's it.
Okay.
And I wish him the best. I wish him the best. And I hope you overcome it. But other than that, nothing much. No comments.
Yeah, no, I understand. Now, finally, Tevin, I wanted to ask you your opinion on a fight in and around your division that you may have an interest in, a great fight. We're set to see a real good matchup between Lomachenko and Nicholas Waters. How do you see that fight playing out, Tevin?
Well, I don't care who wins, but I think Lomachenko beat him. It's going to be a good fight because Nicholas Waters, he's tough, and he's not coming to lay down.
No.
But I definitely see Lomachenko coming out with the victory. I think his IQ and his boxing skills is too superb for Waters.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. Now, Tevin, we've had you on this show just short and sweet this week. Just before I let you go, I just want to give you a chance to, if there's anything that you want to get off your chest at all, anything that you want to tell the listeners that may be listening before we let you go.
I do after my two fights this year in 2017 that the top fighters out in the world will step up and fight and face Tevin Farmer, and not cherry picking. You know, Tevin Farmer willing to face anybody. I don't care who it is, whether they from a different country. I'll go to their backyard, or whether they from here, the United States. I just want to fight the best, so hopefully they step up.
Yeah, and for any of the listeners that are listening, a lot of fighters say what Tevin just said, but believe me, he really means every word of it. Okay, listen, Tevin, it's always a pleasure, my friend, to have you on the show. I wish you all of the luck tomorrow night. I don't think you're going to need much luck tomorrow night anyway, and we're going to speak again soon, of course.
Yes, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and for all the listeners and my fans, they just keep supporting me, and I keep fighting.
Tevin Farmer there, a fighter who was once written off but is now proving all the doubters wrong. Okay, now it's time to conclude episode 54 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Ayaz Sumra has been Ayaz Sumra. A special thank you to both of our guests from this week's show, Tevin Farmer and Dave Coldwell. It's the third time Dave has been on the show, and it's always great to hear from him. It really is. As I always say, the biggest thank you of all goes out to the listeners that make this show what it is. Please remember to share. Please remember to retweet, like, and drop us a comment. Spread the love. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you all next week. God bless.